Is a never-ending cycle of fusion. Hi guys, how you doing? Nick Jennison for Guitar Interactive and GI+. It's Monday. We're doing the thing that we do on Mondays, which is hang out and talk about the guitar. That's becoming something of a catchphrase. You guys are gonna have to bear with me because, oh, there we go, the microphone is on. Hooray. For a second, thought there the microphone wasn't on, but I am in fact wearing my microphone. Nick Jennison for Guitar Interactive, GI+. Thanks for joining us. It is, of course, another one of our Monday streams. We're playing our acoustic again because today we're discussing some very important core concepts that has been drawn to my attention. That maybe you guys, a lot of you will understand this. Some of you are maybe completely clueless about this stuff, and that's totally fine because it's not something, you know, we emerge from the womb knowing. But it's a really powerful thing, and I feel like even if you're an experienced guitar player who knows a lot of these concepts already, you're going to get a lot of use out of what it is that we're doing. Now, I chose to make the bold and perhaps ill-advised move of playing some fusion lead guitar on my acoustic as a way of demonstrating where this stuff leads. So if you're sat going, well, I'm an experienced guitar player, I know what chords are in the key of G, not so fast there, because if you want to be able to do all this kind of cool stuff, it starts with these kind of fundamentals. We are, of course, discussing the concepts of key, transposition, and ultimately the idea of taking music and changing the way we understand it from letters into numbers. More will become clear as we go on. So anyway, listen, if you're getting some use out of these streams, a couple of ways you can help us keep the lights on. Literally and metaphorically, you can go to the following URL down here, which is guitarinteractivemagazine.com/. I don't know which way that is as you look at it. Which one of these slashes is forward, whichever one that is, guitarinteractivemagazine.com/GI-plus, where you will find, and that's the word plus, P-L-U-S, links are down below. It's also right here, all this sort of good stuff there. Here you will find more lessons like the ones you're watching now, but also huge in-depth courses on everything from jazz, fusion, metal, rock, blues, shred, acoustic stuff, actual legit acoustic stuff from actual legit acoustic players, all that sort of thing. You name it, from the likes of myself, from Giorgio Serci, Tom Quayle, Rick Graham, who else? Manelli Jamal, let me think, Sam Bell, Rick Graham, I think I've said Rick Graham already, Andy Wood, Andy James, Michelangelo Beatty was even in there. We got all Ian Simmer with the slide guitar course that everybody loves, and of course a few of my own, on subjects such as theory, technique, you name it, right? If there's something you want to learn, we probably have a course on it. So yeah, GI Plus down there is also dead cheap too. So there you go, plug over. You can also help us in a few other ways. I'm doing the Scholar's Cradle right now because my guitar is in the way when I'm trying to rest my my hand on the guitar. A couple of ways you can help us keep the lights on. You can do a thumbs up on whatever platform it is you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a thumbs up button. You're watching on Facebook, give us a heart emoji. Heart emoji is its favorite, right? Loves a heart. Thumbs up are cool too, but give us a heart if you can. Also, the angry emoji is very good. I don't want to know if you, well, if you're angry, that's fine. You're allowed to be angry, but you know, it's for some reason the algorithm likes the angry emoji just as much as the heart emoji. Also, you can share this with your guitar playing friends. We'd like to get this out to as many guitar players as we possibly can. And lastly, we can also You can also drop us a comment down below because we're going to be answering your questions live on stream as the evening goes on. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, your comments are always greatly appreciated for two reasons, the lesser of which is because the algorithm likes it, the greater of which is because I like it. I like hanging out, I like talking to you guys, love your comments. Speaking of which, let's check in with the stream. There is some big discussion going on already, so before we start today's lesson, let's take a look at how everyone's getting on. Marcin is first through the door with a comment at 2:30 p.m, a moment after I created the stream, no less, saying Gunflash and hello, all that sort of thing. Marcin, it's great to see you. Wouldn't be a stream without Marcin. Marcin is back again saying hello everyone. Sacred Godslayer is also in the house. He even beat us into the comments, if you can believe that. It's good to say good evening and still have the sun up. Let me tell you, man, like, I woke up this morning with an unbelievable sense of well-being just because I've spent the weekend in my garden. I was working on some mixes, specifically working on the editing and mix prep portions, and I just have my laptop and I'm squinting at it from this far away, and I didn't care because I was in the sun. And then I woke up this morning, had my coffee and my breakfast with the birds and the sun, and it was just fantastic. I've had a great day. It sounds like I've been on the British game show. I've had a great day. I came here with nothing. Anyway, Timothy Appling is in the house. Timothy, it is great to see you. Thanks for coming along again. PJ is here. Larry Warren is here. All of the usual contenders. Larry's in Canada, and today is Victoria Day here in Canada to honour one of those old monarchs. Greets to all. Well, there you go, Victoria Day. Have some Victoria sponge if that's the sort of thing that you do on Victoria Day. I don't know, but hey, congratulations. Happy Victoria Day to you, I guess. Larry, it is great to have you on board. Thanks for joining us once again. Always a pleasure to have our regular streamers here. Daryl Queen, one of my favourite new contributors, who's always got some great insight, says, good evening all. The earlier webinar was like an appetizer for the live stream. He's referring, of course, to the Lick Library webinar that I did recently. If you guys aren't subscribed to Lick Library on YouTube, by the way, you should consider doing that too, because Lick Library, I do work for Lick Library as well, in addition to Guitar Interactive. Now, GI is my baby, and I'm going nowhere, don't worry, but I absolutely love working for Lick Library. We do some really cool stuff, allows me to teach stuff that is outside the scope of the stuff we do with GI and GI Plus, like songs, for example. We don't do much of that here. We do tons of that over at Lick Library, but we did a webinar on Lick Library on the subject of feel and expression. You guys who are GI Plus subscribers will be well aware of my thoughts on this sort of subject, but it was good fun. Tell you what, 30 minutes, it's not a long time to do a webinar, but they're going to be more regular. So if you are subscribed to Lick Library on YouTube, or you're a Lick Library member, you'll get notifications about when we're going to do that. Also, you can consider signing up to the Lick Library mailing list by going to the website, where you'll find a link where you can go and do that. Lick Library plug over. Yeah, Nick released a webinar on another channel. I did indeed. There we go, Lick Library channel. Nick's hosting a webinar on feel and expression similar to what he's covered here in the past, for sure. You know, I only have so many thoughts in my hairy head. And to be honest, it was cool to be able to talk to a different audience with that stuff, because, you know, the Lick Library audience and GI audience, there's some crossover, but they tend to be quite separate, and it's nice to be able to address the sort of stuff that we've had so much fun learning with a whole new bunch of guitar players. So it was cool. So get over there, subscribe to Lick Library too, if you have not done so already. Who else is in the house? Sacred Godslayer. Timothy Appling is referring to Sacred Godslayer. Is that you shredding your guitar on a 12-year-old guitar solo in a YouTube page? Nice. I watched the Line 6 test also. I am going to have to watch that. Sacred Godslayer, if you're watching, do me a favor, drop some links to those videos in the comments so everyone can go and check them out. Go and give them a subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and give those videos a like too, and drop some comments. I'll be doing so when I get off this stream at the end of the hour. So yeah, man, looking forward to seeing this. I love seeing you guys play, by the way. So if you're ever uploading stuff, or, you know, whatever, if you're ever putting stuff out there in the world, tag me in it, send it to me. I love to see it, right? Always a pleasure. Who else do we have? Anyway, let's keep on rolling. We've got some great conversation regarding some... we're going to get to this in a minute, but regarding some confidence stuff. Now, we'll get to that probably in the Q&A, because it's very, very important. But there's some discussion of recording yourself and all that sort of stuff. Now, I don't know about you guys. I want to know if you do record yourself when you're practicing, whether you upload it, whether you just use it for your own stuff. I feel like recording your playing is super valuable. It's crazy valuable to your progress, but also to it keeps you accountable. If you go out, if you put stuff out into the world regularly, even if you're not doing it as like a careerist kind of thing, I feel like it's a huge deal because it gives you a sense of accountability, and you kind of have, it's not so much that you have to put your best foot forward, but you represent your playing as it is right now. Now, there is a culture, we'll not get too deep into the weeds on this one, but there is a culture on social media in the guitar space, which is similar to what we see in the fitness space, where you'll see an awful lot of very well manicured guitar performances, let's say, that have maybe had a good deal of, let's just call it like audio airbrushing done to them, which, unless you have a keen eye, you're probably not going to spot that it's, what's been done and where the edits have happened, etc. I'm not going to go into how you can spot this stuff because I don't think that's very helpful, but just be aware that there's a lot of stuff out there that is maybe not as it seems, and if you compare yourself to these guitar players putting that sort of stuff up, it can kind of damage your self-image as a guitar player a little bit. We'll talk more about that in the Q&A because it's a very interesting topic, and maybe we'll get into that sort of stuff. Keith MOF is in the house, he's talking about it a little bit, and Daryl Queen's talking about it too. Says, I've recorded myself a lot, but I rarely post anything out of pure shame. Keith MOF, I'm the same, so critical of my playing or lack of. We're going to come back to this, guys, because I've got some thoughts on this sort of stuff. But first of all, what I will say is that the guitar is not a race to the top. And it's not about being the most perfect guitar player. Music is not a meritocracy in the sense that best, whatever that means, doesn't always mean best. Doesn't always mean we like it the best. Music is a creative endeavor, and it's something that we do because we enjoy it. Right? It doesn't really matter how good you are. Think for a moment about how many of your favorite bands have put out recordings who maybe weren't the best guitar players in the world. If any of you are punk fans or grunge fans, let's say, as well, those recordings wouldn't exist if people stressed too much about, guitar playing perfection and being the fastest and the cleanest and having the best time feel, etc. Sam Bell is a great person to talk to you about this, by the way. If you're not following Sam Bell on Instagram, he's got some fantastic thoughts on that. We're going to come to that, right? Because that's a very interesting topic. We'll address that in the Q&A. But before we do that, let's check in with a few more folks. Cranker Tom is in the house. He's in Venice, Italy, out of my converted ambulance car. Matt, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you later on, hopefully. So we're not even at the point where folks are actually in the stream yet. So this is all the pre-stream stuff, but it's great to see these comments, a little bit of this stuff. I'm going to show some love to my friend Liam, right? This is Liam Burke. Liam's a great friend of mine. He is the best dude. Liam is the tour manager for my band, Saints of Arcadia. He books a lot of gigs for us too. He's a great dude. We are currently in the process of putting the wheels back on the wagon with that, let's say. I've got a Blitzkrieg album that I need to get over the line first, and then I'll be turning my attention to making some music with the Saints. Rafael Jesus says, what sort of PA would you recommend to go along with a guitar amp and drums to cover vocals and the low guitar octave sounds? Now, if you're doing low guitar octave stuff, you're going to need a sub, probably. Otherwise, I would have said a pair of maybe RCF 12s on sticks, or even a pair of RCF 10s. Rafael, great question. I'm going to... it might be Rafael, depending upon where you're from. I'm going to start that up. We're going to come back to that in the Q&A. Who else do we have? David Yates is in the house. Evening all, hope you're all well. Won't be playing along tonight, resting my hands, but definitely going to watch. David, you'll still get some great stuff out of the stream, I am sure. I hope you're having, I hope you're seeing some great improvement in those hands. Last week seemed really, really promising. So, progress update, we'd love to hear from you. And there's lots of positive vibe in the comments too. We love a bit of that. Anyway, Frank has pointed out that I've typed the URL wrong, the GI Plus. We'll address that as we go. My friend Scott is in the house. Scott, it's great to see you. Sam Bell's on tomorrow night on the Lick Library stream. Very interesting, right? Make sure you get along to that. Sam's a good friend. Great guitar player. Fantastic thoughts too. So if you're not subscribed to Lick Library, go do it. Who else do we have? Long process that we will never want to end. Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't want it to end either. What else do we have? Regarding David Yates, and his hands. Oh no, here we go. Can I get a shout out to a guy who really doesn't get enough exposure? Doug Rappaport. I'd love a masterclass on his style. So wouldn't I? Doug Rappaport's a fantastic guitar player. If you guys are not familiar with Doug Rappaport, go get it. Here we go. Hey Nick, keys and transposition. Can I change your mind on the use of the circle of fifths? I've made an interactive wheel that shows numerals and modes. Forget the accidentals. Think progressions. I think we're thinking along the same lines, my man. So listen, we're going to get into the meat of this in a second. Go grab your guitars, but before we do that, I want to take a quick minute and show you something that's going to help with this stuff if you're interested in learning a little more in your pursuit of music understanding excellence. I've got a great course on this called Mastering Modes Part 1. It approaches it more from the lead guitar playing perspective. We have another course in the offing that's going to approach it more from the harmony perspective. We'll get to that. But yeah, this is Mastering Modes Part 1. If you have a pentatonic scale in your repertoire, if you know how to do this, and you want to do this, then this course is for you. When we come back, we're going to be talking about keys, transposing, all that good stuff. But first, mastering modes. Modes. What are modes? How do I use them? When do I use them? Well, modes are one of the things that the pros use to add excitement and colour to the guitar parts, and there is no reason why you can't use them too. Now, for some reason, people, especially certain online guitar teachers, love to make modes seem complicated and scary, but I'm here to tell you they really, really aren't. And in fact, if you know the pentatonic scale, I can show you how to play modes with just 2 extra notes. In this course, I'll show you how to play killer sounding guitar solos using modes without any of the mystery. You'll learn how to play musical sounding solos all across the neck in any key, crucially without sounding like you're just running up and down scales. So, if you're ready to take this next step with me, click the link to find out more. So there you go, guys, that's been a look at Mastering Modes Part 1. That course is available as part of your GI Plus membership. We're going to fix that URL down below so you guys can go click it, right? Because we're missing a dot, because I am terrible at doing the typing. But anyway, listen, right, we're going to get straight into the depths of things as we go. First of all, though, I want to take a quick minute and say to my friend David, yeah, it's David, it's great that you found somebody who is giving you good information on this stuff. It's so important to have kind of like good communicators of science and, you know, dietary sort of stuff. That's really, really cool, man. I'm going to go check that out when we get off the stream. I'm going to throw another one your way very, very quickly. If you haven't done so already, you need to go check out Barbell Medicine. So Dr. Austin Baraki, Dr. Jordan Feigenbaum, and the rest of the crew, Dr. Derek Miles, etc. Basically a bunch of doctors, lifters, coaches, etc. But they specialize in pain and injury. So you'll get a lot of really, really good stuff to go along with the stuff that you're getting from Dr. Berg. Very cool indeed. I think you'll get a lot of use out of that. So there you go, man. Hope you're feeling better. Fingers crossed. You're going to be back to playing form very soon. So anyway, listen, let's get down to the meat of things. Here's a link you can click to go and get the GI Plus subscription, by the way. The meat of things. So last week, we discussed some chord extensions and some chord substitutions that we can use based on the 4 chords of the Apocalypse in the key of C. Now, what we didn't do is we didn't go into huge depth about what that actually means as far as being in the key of C, or, you know, like the chords that are in the key of C, etc. So let's go over some very, very quickly. Let's talk about the chords we played last week, and then we're going to draw some inferences from them. So if we start with a simple chord progression that's going to read C, G, A minor, and then F. We've played this chord progression 1,000 times, I'm sure. We substituted it and made it sound all sorts of interesting with R. Suspensions, and our chord extensions last week. But fundamentally, these are chords we've heard 1,000 times, right? And they're all the same chords, no matter how we skin them. We can play this, we can play this, we can play it here. Etc. Fundamentally, the same chords. Now, what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with a C, a G, an A minor, and an F. If we assume, if assume is not even the right word, if we acknowledge that we're playing in the key of C, we can take a look at the notes that are in a C major scale, which are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we're back to C. We can give each one of these notes a number. We can call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then back to 1. Now, because we're guitar players, we have the benefit of playing essentially an instrument that is like a grid or a shape-based instrument. We sit somewhere in a continuum of understanding with this sort of stuff that is somewhere between. I'm going to get off on a bit of a tangent here, but when I explore this sort of stuff, there's a couple of different perspectives you can take on this, and depending upon the first instrument of the person I'm talking to, I'll take a different approach to it. So I coach a lot of singers, and I also talk to a lot of piano players, specifically about music theory. Mainly not like advanced piano players, but, you know, piano students who are, you know, first year of college, that sort of thing, etc., or singers who play piano. Now, the way I'll explain this stuff to a piano player is very different to the way I'll explain this stuff to a singer. And in my mind, I kind of think about them as kind of a relative understanding or a relative first instrument and a discrete first instrument. If I say to a singer who doesn't have perfect pitch, sing me a C, not much use. If I say to a piano player, play me a C, easy, dead easy. If I say to a singer, sing me this note, dead easy. If the piano player doesn't have perfect pitch, that's difficult. If I say to a singer, sing me the third of this note, if they have the first idea what they're doing, they'll do this. If I say to a piano player, play me the third of that note, they have to know what the note is first, unless they're very good pitch. So, you know, for example, if I then say to a piano player, play me the third of C, they can go bonk, easy. If I say to a singer, sing me the third of C, we'll kind of hear a C first. The point with this is there are different ways of understanding this sort of stuff, and none of them are wrong. It's a question of which road you take first. You'll need to understand all of this stuff as time goes on, but when you understand it from one perspective, it's easier to understand it from the other perspectives. Now, the guitar is a very interesting one, because we can take something like the venerable A minor pentatonic scale, play it knowing only that this is an A. We don't need to know any of the other notes particularly, because all we do is we go A, shape. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because shape is the first step towards formula. So stick with me on that. Now, if we take A, if I said to you, cool, right, now play me the A flat minor pentatonic scale. Well, all we do is we go, where's an A flat? There it is. We can readily recognize that this is the same thing in A flat as this is in A. Stick with me so far. If you're following me so far, let me know. If you're lost, let me know in the comments. Happy to go back and any of this stuff if we have to. But of course, you can always catch this in the replay if you want to catch it another time. Now, let's go a step further with that, and let's talk about our chord progression. Because of this, let's do C for argument's sake. We'll do this one here. C. C minor pentatonic. If we recognize that as C, and the same thing up a fret is C sharp in this case, well, this chord progression in C, if we play it up a fret with the use of this handy cheating device that looks a bit like a dinosaur, pretty cool. There you go. That is an Ernie Ball capo, which I really like. There's one way around that works really well on flat fretboards. I can't remember which one it is, and this fretboard is very flat. I think it might be this way. We'll find out though. Haha, huzzah. If we play the same thing with a capo on fret 1, I think I found the one that works on curved fretboard, so let me just turn that around. But if we do the, the same thing on fret 1, very, very clever little device this. There it is. So we're playing essentially C upper fret, G upper fret, A minor upper fret, F upper fret. We can recognize that this is the same thing. It's the same thing, only up. Here's another question for you, right? If I play these two chord progressions, I want you to let me know in the comments if they're different or the same thing in a different key. I'm going to play C, G, A minor, F. That's chord progression 1. I'll play it again. C, G, A minor, F. Here's chord progression 2. E, B, C sharp minor, A. Are they different? Are they the same? What's your opinion on this? Let me know in the comments, right? Drop me a comment down below. Let me know if you feel like those are different or the same. Let me play them again. C, G, A minor, F. That's chord progression 1. E, B, C sharp minor, A. Different or the same? There's no wrong answer here, and there's not actually a right answer either, because, hey, all things are relative. So Mark Manish is different. What anybody saying different? Anybody saying the same? Different, different, the same, says Frank. PJ, nail on head, 1546. I think you meant 1564, but it's I get where you're coming from. Now, I would warrant that these are the same chord progression. The same chord progression in different keys, right? Here's why. Let's get into some melody stuff very quickly, right? So if I play this, right, stick this with me real quick, right? We're gonna back out of this, right? So if I play a C and I play C, D, E, F, G. For those of you playing along, that is going to be same intervals between the notes and chords. Yep, you are 100% right, my man. 100%. Bang on the money. Same progression, different key. 1, 5, a little 6, 4. Very nice. In Roman numerals from our Roman correspondent. Fantastic. We love a bit of that. Don't forget those links, man. We want to see them videos, right? I want to see them videos. So anyway, let's do a little demonstration of this. For those of you who are going, it's different. Those of you who are going the same, let's crystallize this. So if we do this, if we play fret 3, and then fret 5 on the A string, and then 2, 3, 5 on the D string. That is C, D, E, F, G. We get this. For anybody in the UK, that is the first part of the EastEnders theme tune. It's a fantastic theme tune. Anyway, yeah, how do we get to playing EastEnders? Who knows? Anyway, so we have C, D, E, F, G. Right? We've got that. Everybody's got that all sorted. What if we play that same thing, but this time up here, but we started on E, right? So now we're in the key of E. We're playing this in the key of C. What about this in the key of E, starting on fret number 7? E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. We got this here. There's in C. Here it is in E. We can hear them very clearly the same, so much so that I can play the EastEnders theme tune in both. And then here. How did we get? How is that the song that I settled on anyway? Who knows? The point with this, anyway, is that these notes all have the same relation. All have the same relation. I met Anita Thompson's husband when I was 19. A really, really lovely man. Jesus. Anybody from outside of the UK is going to be going, what on earth are you talking about? Or anybody who's not a certain age. Much easier to hear with single notes. It 100% is, my man. I totally agree. Now, another thing with this is it was a little tricky with the way I put that chord progression to you. I'm not going to lie, right? That was a little bit of a trick on my part. A little bit of sleight of hand. because I'm not playing it using the same voicings. So here's a question, right? This, let's go a little further. This here, right? That's that in the key of C. This is it with the same fingering in the key of E. What about this? Is that the same? It's a different fingering, but it sounds the same. Well, watch this, right? Here is C, G, A minor. Here's F. Here's chord progression 2. E, B, C sharp minor, A. Here's the first progression with the capo on fret number 4. I'm going to play it again, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the capo off very quickly. 2, 3, 4. It's the same as chord progression 2. That's because each one of these chords has a relationship to the home key. If that makes sense. A relationship to the note that gives the key its quality. Which note is this and how do we know which note it is? It's because we said so. That's basically it. We pick one. We go, this note is the home note. That's the root note we are deciding. There are no rules as to which root note you decide upon. There are some great examples of this where 2 chord progressions can have different root notes, even though they've got the same chord in them. We'll get to that in a second. Just a small town girl. Don't do that, right? Because it's so true, and I'm gonna have to play this at somebody's wedding very, very soon. I don't mind. I love playing this song because I get to see the piano bit. I get to, and my favorite bits are the. I get to do all those bits with loads of delay and stuff on, so yeah, I like playing that song. Anyway, journey discussion aside. So anyway, right, we're getting away from that. So, do we need to know all of the notes in every individual key to make the most of them? I don't think we do. I think what we need to know is we need to understand, much like our pentatonic scale, we do need to know them eventually, but not to begin with. Much like a pentatonic scale, we need to understand which note is home, which note is root. This is the root. And we need to know which pattern, which array of intervals are available to us around that note. This is how scalar playing works, scalar playing. And it's a little bit like if we jam over our fusion track very, very quickly. We'll go over that together. Our fusion track is very cool because it is literally transposition in action. So it's a Tom Quayle themed backing track, right? We're going to play this together. If we play A minor pentatonic, then we go up to C minor pentatonic, D minor pentatonic, and if I can reach F minor pentatonic, we have literally like just that in all these different keys. Let's play along with that together real quick. So grab your guitars. Let's start with A minor pentatonic, right? And you can just play this from the top to the bottom and it's going to sound like music because the scale is a musical device. This is over an A minor chord. Let's play the same thing in C minor pentatonic, starting fret number 8. Here we go. We can acknowledge this is literally the same thing, but in a different key, because we've moved. D minor, here we go. Let's go to F minor next, which you can do on 13, or you can do on fret number 1 if you prefer. I'm going to do 13, because this guitar has a fantastic cutaway. Let's go back to A minor. Here we go. Play it with a different fingering. I'm going to go like this. And this time I'm going to go to D minor. I'm going to start on a different pitch. I'm going to go here. And this time I'll go to F minor, again starting at a different pitch. Etc. Anyway, what we can acknowledge with this is that we're playing the same thing in a bunch of different keys. We play this, the relationship to the home key remains the same. Now, as far as we're concerned, we can consider the major scale and the major scale harmony. Daryl Queen hits the nail on the head. Once again, it comes back to fluency, to intervallic fluency. Yeah, absolutely, 100% with you. We can consider the major scale to have the following attributes. We can consider it to have a 1, wherever that is, and then we can consider it to have the following notes in its in its construction. We have a 1. We go up a tone to get 2. We go up another tone. For those of you who don't know, by the way, tone is a 2-fret interval. So we have 1. We go up a tone to get 2. Up another tone to get 3. We go up a semitone to get 4. Up another tone to get 5. Up another tone to get 6. Up another tone to get 7. And then we go a semitone to get 8. We would call these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What you can think about these as being is C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to C. Or E flat, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to E flat. Or, I don't know, let's pick one. A flat, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kaboom. Now you can build a chord from any one of these notes. We could take A flat, consider that to be a 1 chord. We could then play A flat. We can build a chord from 5. The 5 chord is usually major. We can build a chord from 6, which would be here. The 6th chord, usually minor. And then we can build a 1 from 4, usually major. So depending upon what key we're playing, and we'll do this together, right? Drop some key suggestions in the comments, by the way. Drop some key suggestions in the comments. Let me know which key you feel like we should do this in. But I'm going to pick one off the top of my head. I'm going to play B flat because it's a nice key. Incidentally, here's a trick for you, by the way. If you want to have people turn and look at you and go, ooh, that's nice. Miguel has said B flat. We are educated individuals. B flat is the civilized key. We like that. Yeah, once again, here's a little trick for you. If you want people in a guitar shop or a crowded guitar playing environment to turn and look and go, that's nice, at your playing, do the following. Play in A for an extended period of time, right? Just some time. Don't play with any kind of ferocity or any of that stuff. Just... played an A for a while, go to B flat and play like you mean it. People will turn, right? No sooner do you play an A for a while, and then you go like this. It's a nice guitar, this. People go, oh, fantastic, we love that. So anyway, listen, we're playing in B flat. We're getting back to, how did we get onto that, right? But yeah, that's a little trick for you. Fun trick to be heard in a guitar shop in a loud guitar playing environment. Play an A for a while, then move to B flat. Anyway, so there's a cool jazz piano trick Nick Harrison told me about as well that I'll tell you guys about in a bit if you want to sound like you can play the piano. And it's a trick that I've pulled a number of times and people will go, that's nice. Anyway, so B flat, right? Let's very quickly take our B flat, right? We're going to do some chord building off this, right? There's B flat. We're going to do a major scale fingering on B flat. It's going to give us 6, 8, and then 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. There are frets. 6, 8, 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. Right, we got that. Now, with this in mind, we're going to call that B flat, we're going to call that 1. We don't need to know what the other notes are. We're just going to call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're back to 1. Let's build a chord progression that's on 1, 5, 6, and then 4. What have we got here? There's 1, there's 5. 1, 5. What I want to do is I want to play a major chord on 1, like this. There's 5. Let's play a major chord there. 1, then 5. Now 6 is a bit tricky to get to because 6 is there. So we could play the tone up from 5 on our A string, and we could play a minor chord there. So far we have 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. And then we can go 1, 4, we can play major. Kaboom. There we go. Dead easy. Chris is asking about strings. These are Elixir 11s we're playing today. So 25.5-inch scale guitar. These are 11s. I have reasonably strong hands. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the compliment. I like 11s on acoustics. I feel like 10s I've played with are just a little bit too slack. The tuning becomes an issue, let's say, when you're playing chords. But if the setup is very, very bad in a guitar, I'll play 11s. I don't mind 12s, but 11s are my favorite. So 11s on this guitar. We've got a question about signal chain as well, which I'll talk to you about in a second. But anyway, we have this chord progression: 1, 5, 6 minor, and then 4. Dead easy. 1, 5, 6, 4. We can put this in any key by starting on any root note that we want. Let's do another example. Let's do F. So F down here, we get 1, 2, 3 for the open A string, 4, 5, 6, there's D, 7, 1. So there's 1. Major chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a minor chord. Up to 6, D. There's a major chord. 1 on B flat. Major chord. 1, 5, 6 minor, 4. Did I need to know which notes are involved? Nope. Just needed to know. Just literally needed to know, like, what is, like, what's the 1 and what are the intervals relative to the 1. Now this expands out a little bit when it comes to improvising. So when we improvise, it's kind of the same deal, right? What we need to know is we need to know what's our 1 for the chord that we're playing over, or the progression we're playing over, and what intervals are available. This is where, if ever you've wanted, we've gone from the 4-chord song into playing over jazz fusion progressions like Tom Quayle. But if you want to know how that stuff works, and Tom talks about this at length, there's great stuff on GI Plus about this stuff, and some great stuff in his own lessons too. Shout out to Tom for being the premier source of information on YouTube, on this in YouTube guitar. Basically talks about the idea of whatever the chord is. Let's say, for example, the chord is like a B flat major, in this case major 9. We play B flat and then we work out what B flat Lydian would be. Why Lydian? Because if we have a major 9 and we have, drop my pick, if we have a major 9 and we don't have any other information to set it in context, we assume it's Lydian. Point in playing that did I think that's an E, there's an F. I haven't calculated now as we go, which is kind of weird. There's an A, that's the major 7, there's a D, that's the 3rd. I don't even think about it like that. I think there's B flat, and I think major 3rd, 5th, sharp 4, major 7, major 6. Sometimes I make mistakes like that. That's how I think about that stuff. So this is where this leads. So guitar players who are out there going, I am a shredder, I don't need to know about the 4 chords of awesome. Well, if you want to be a better shredder, you need to know this stuff, because this is the gateway into fusion, if that makes sense. So here's a very cool comment from Sacred Godslayer. Something that helps in diatonic chords is the position of major and minor chords relative to the root. The 2 chords, 1 tone and 2 tone from the root on the same string are minor. Very interesting. Now, what we're referring to here is the progression, the sequence of chords that appears in a major scale. This is what happens if we take the notes of a major scale, we build a chord on each one. We get the following. So let's take our E major as an example. In E major, or in any major really, chord 1 is major, chord 2 is minor, chord 3 is minor, chord 4 is major, 5 is major, can be dominant as well. They can be the same thing until you put a 7th in there. 6 is minor. 7 is disgusting. No, 7 is diminished. Or minor 7 flat 5, depending upon where you go. And 1 is major. 1, so major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. This finger doesn't know what to do with itself. Throw some 7ths in there, it gets a little more complex, but not much more complex. Throw extensions in, it gets a little more complex again, because then we have to do different kinds of major. We have different 9ths that are allowed, but this all becomes more understandable as we go. Here's a fun thing though, right? If you want to do some stuff modally, here's an interesting one. Flamenco players, here we go, say, some of them, that they play in E always. I can probably assume that is because that string sounds great, and you can leave it be droning away. It's very hard to play stuff like this. I'm not a flamenco guitar player, right? That is so far from authentically flamenco, it's not even funny. But it's very hard to play that stuff. It's very hard to do that in C, because how are you going to keep that held? Oh! That's very difficult. I think that's why. The E thing. Here's another thing with that though. Metal guitar players. How many metal guitar players do you know who play everything in D? Like this. But then just tune the whole guitar differently. To get so you know, we'll have something in maybe je ne comprends pas tu en anglais sniff? No idea. Who knows? I can only imagine how that name is pronounced if you're French. Jamais pund. Who knows? Yeah, how many metal guitar players do you know who do that and essentially take the whole guitar and tune it down? Well, this song is in drop C, but we're playing basically the same stuff, right? Basically the same business. So the same deal. Here's another interesting one, by the way. If any of you have picked up a harmonica for a while, you'll notice that harmonica players, harp players for the blues inclined, have an instrument for each key. Because the instruments are diatonic. So we'll have a G harp and a C harp, etc. It's kind of like what's going on here, if that makes sense. So fingers crossed. Show love to the diminished chord, says Darrell Queen. I agree. Play our Linkin Park songs. Well, kind of, most of them are kind of these chord progressions anyway. So, you know, in essence, we don't want to get copyright shut down. And let's be honest, you don't want to hear me play Linkin Park. Linkin Park exists. Go and listen to Linkin Park. It's great. Don't have a pale imitation like myself, or a slightly swarthy imitation, because I've been in the sun. So yeah, you don't want to see me play Linkin Park. Anyway, love a bit of drop C, says David Yates. Anyway, this is the same principle, right? So this, back to drop whatever, this riff that I just made up is the same thing in drop D as it would be in drop C. Watch me engage in a tuning nightmare. Now, interestingly, you saw me make a absolute mistake of that when I started playing something in C, because I went, oh, we're in the key of C, I must play on this C. That is no longer C, and we're not playing in C, if that makes sense. We'll get up there for a second, but basically, you know, that sort of stuff, but it just sounds more like Mastodon in drop C, for sure. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Now, this is not to say that this stuff is like cheating or anything bad like that. Absolutely not. It's just kind of like an understanding of how this sort of stuff works. So in essence, this is an introduction to the understanding of keys. Now, if we talk about some of the chords, we refer to chords and we refer to scales as relative to our major scale. So if we think about this chord progression, here's a chord progression in the key of E, which I've now put out of tune, but I'll do my best. This guitar's great, but it doesn't have a tuner built in, which is annoying. And I haven't rigged up my tuner because I'm using the Fishman pedals again. Shout out to Fishman for the Fishman pedals. They sound fantastic, really helping. Let me tell you, here it is without. Still sounds pretty good. Here it is with. Gorgeous, even though it's out of tune. Anyway, yeah, don't do vibrato when you're trying to tune, by the way. That's annoying. So anyway, here's a chord progression in the key of E that we would call a 1, 5, 6, 4. We've had to change nothing about this because all of these chords are represented in our major scale, right? What about this chord progression? Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry. Now, we could think about that as a 1, 5, 6, 4 in G, but starting somewhere else. But what it actually is a 1 minor, flat 6, flat 3, flat 7. What? Where do they come from? Well, these notes are all relative to our major scale. There's 1. If 1 is minor, that's what we refer to it as. It's 1 minor. Cool, right? 1 is still root, and it's minor. Great. Nice. This is not the root. This is the root. We're playing an E minor now. There's 1 minor. What about this C chord next? Well, let's count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's neither of them. 5 is B, 6 is C sharp. So in between, flat 6. Hooray. We're playing a chord from flat 6. Is it major? Is it minor? In this case, it's major. Kaboom. Flat 6, 1 minor, flat 6. What about this one? 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it's not that. It's here in between. There's 3, there's flat 3. Flat 3, major. 1 minor, flat 6, flat 3. What about this one? Well, there's D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It ain't that, it's that. Flat 7. Flat 7, piece of cake. This chord progression, 1, flat 6, flat 3. Sorry, I'll say that again. 1, flat 6, flat 3, flat 7, then major. 1, 5, 6, 4. What about this? 1, 5, 6, 4, flat 6, flat 7, back to 1. Hooray! What about this? 1, 5, flat 6, 4, 4 minor, 1. Nice, etc. 1, 2 dominant, 4, 4 minor, flat 6, flat 7, 1, flat 5, 1, etc. Breezing through that stuff because it's just to show you what's kind of out there, but this is how we think about this stuff. And all of those things, all of those chord progressions are still true in different keys. Here it is in G. There's G. 1, 5, 6, 4, 1 minor, flat 5, sorry, not flat 5, 1 minor, flat 6, flat 3 with a G shape, and then our lovely flat 7 up here. Still true no matter what key we play them in. This is really useful for a variety of reasons. First of all, it gives you an understanding of how these intersect with scales, all that sort of stuff, but it also means you're doing a gig and there's a singer and the singer goes, guys, in the band, I've lost my voice. I need to take everything down a key. What do you mean by that? Normally means a tone, right? Normally means tone. Nick Harrison, it's the same progression starting from chord 6. You could consider it like that, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because we have established that while it's the same chord progression, it's a bit like you and I go for dinner, but one of us pays. Right? It's very different. It is the same. It is the same, right? In essence, you could look at it the same, but a different chord is paying for dinner. In this case, so a different chord gets to order the wine. So yeah, we love analogies like that. We love stuff like that. So anyway, listen, right? We're gonna move to the Q&A because I could talk about this all night. We will continue this stuff. If you want a little bit more insight into this stuff, Mastering Modes Part 1 is a really great place to start. Remember, you can catch this on the replay. Watch this as many times as you like. I think you'll get some good stuff out of it, I am sure. But for the time being, I'm going to show you this, and then when we come back, we're going to be answering your questions. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We've run a little bit long, but we'll carry on running a bit long because I definitely want to get a good 10 minutes of questions in. In the meantime, you want to go a little bit deeper with some of this stuff. Another very good place to get it in GI Plus is the Slide Guitar for Standard Tuning course from Ian Simo. Now, this is one of the reasons why slide guitar players will sometimes use an open tuning, or slack key tuning, I've heard it referred to as. An open tuning because they'll tune to a chord. So someone like Eric Sardinas, for example, who is the shred guitar player, slide player of choice, will tune to D, tune to open D, where the guitar, when strummed, plays a D chord, and then capo up to an E to get an open E tuning, etc. Slide Guitar for Standard Tuning, it's an excellent course, loads of great insight. When we come back, we'll be discussing your questions, but for the time being, this is available in your GI Plus membership. You want this. Links down below. Here it is.
Hi, my name is Ian Simo and I'd like to share with you my course on slide guitar for standard tuning. This is a 10-part series in which we're going to explore the essential slide hand techniques and pick and hand techniques. We're also going to take a look at rhythm playing with the slide. So we're going to look at how to integrate the slide with major and minor triads. Really enjoyed putting this series together. It comes complete with some backing tracks for all of the example phrases and exercises so you can practice along, and it comes complete with tablature and notation for all the example phrases and exercises. So if you've been interested in getting into slide, I highly encourage you to check out this course, this 10-part series on slide guitar for standard tuning.
It's Q&A time. That is Slide Guitar for Standard Tuning. You want that course. It's so good, right? I picked up so much stuff with that. Gonna crop these videos. That is tasty slide work. Dang, I absolutely agree, right? Ian blew my mind the first time I saw him play. He's a local lad to me as well. He's a great dude. Really nice guy as well. Very, very good teacher. In a very cool way that we like. So, yeah, first question from Mustache Mel, because it's the latest question to come in. Nick, have you ever experimented with DAD FAE Opeth Ghost Reveries tuning? It's an open D minor. I can imagine that sounding really cool. I very rarely play in open tunings myself unless I'm in the studio, in which case I'll sometimes reach for stuff for specific parts where I'll go, I need to get this to sound a certain way. I need this note to ring. I don't want to fret it because it sounds different when I play it open. It's kind of the only time I'll do this. Open tunings confuse the ever-loving metaphorical out of me. I find it very difficult to play in because I'm so used to where things are on the electric guitar. I feel like the same thing is true for like fanned frets. They drive me just very, very difficult to play. Although, for example, did recently play the Ernie Ball Tosin Abasi co-designed guitar, the Kaizen 6. I didn't play the 7, I wasn't brave enough, but that actually felt okay. But yeah, different tunings. Anything that messes up with the muscle memory is challenging for me. So anyway, great questions, right? Really, really great question. Chris is asking, do you have a YouTube video of you playing a band setting? Your command of the fretboard is awesome and incredible. I'm ready to throw my guitar. Please don't throw your guitar in the fireplace, right? But thank you for the compliment. I really do appreciate that. You can check me out in a few different places. The bands I play with a band called Saints of Arcadia, who are a great band I've played with for over a decade. They're my babies. I also play with a band called Blitzkrieg, who you may know from the song Metallica did. That's us. We wrote that. I wasn't there at the time because I wasn't born. But still, so you can go and check me out playing with Blitzkrieg. There are extended videos of me playing. There's a live stream of us playing a Keep It True Rising 2. There's a load of stuff from Leather Rebels Festival last year. What else? Some stuff from Hard Rock Hell, New Wave British Heavy Metal. So yeah, a bunch of places you can see me playing in a band. What's up, Jakey Lee? I'll show you that riff in a little bit. Anyway, we've got some great questions in. I'm just going to get a few of these in as we go. So these are some really important comments. So we've got a few. First of all, I just want to touch on the slightly more gear related kind of stuff. We had a question about the guitar signal chain, which I have now lost. I can't remember who said it. It was one of our regular streamers. Can't remember who said that. But somebody said the guitar sounds really nice. What's the signal chain? It's this guitar. This is a Cort Flow OC, which is a sub £1,000 guitar. But really, really nice, mainly because it plays great. It's got like a 2 pickup system. There's like a mic and a piezo. I think I'm mostly using the mic because it's an LR bag system. I think the mic sounds way better than the piezo, but I'm running into these guys. These are the Fishman AFX pedals. Most of the heavy lifting is being done by this guy, which is the AFX Pro EQ Mini. It's an EQ pedal with a difference. I've got this set up so it'll slightly saturate on the harder pick attacks, takes the transient off the note a bit. For this demonstration, because I'm playing lots of single notes, I've turned some brilliance down, skipped some mids out, cutting a little bit of low end. We're also using this guy. This is the AFX Acoustiverb on the whole setting with a medium time, fairly bright, and quite a lot of mix. And that's about it. The other guy is just a little ABY mixer, and the other one is a looper, which are cool, but really, really like the way they sound. This is what it sounds like without. Here's what it sounds with. Some very interesting chord movements, flitting between keys at complete random. Wasn't thinking too much about it. So that's the signal chain for the day. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Now, we got some questions. Oh, here's one about some gear stuff. Light strings for electrics up 10s, but acoustics for 11s. Is there a reason for this? I use Elixir in both my electric and my acoustic, but I buy extra light for acoustic. They feel the same. So they feel the same. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think it's because it's history lesson time, right? What you may have noticed is on acoustic guitars, we have this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy is wound, and we have 2 plain strings. Generally speaking, or historically speaking, guitar string gauges, the light string gauge was 11, so it's 11 on top. You'd have 11, 14, and then you would have something like a, whatever this would be on here would be like a 28, 38, 48, 56, let's say, for example. I don't know. Or whatever an 11 would be. I may have got that wrong. Either way, that'd be what it was. And then 10s were like this super, super light gauge. So you would have, in fact, no, we'll get to that. Sorry, 12s. something else entirely. Now, what people would do was they would take a set of 11s like this, which were the extra light gauge, the lightest you can get, and they would take all of the strings, throw away the low string, and move everything one position further up. So this string, which was an 11, would now become the B string. This string, which was a 16, I think, if I'm not mistaken, would go up here, which would, end up in the G string, etc. Throw those away, and then grab a 9 gauge banjo string and throw it on top. And then you'd end up with plain string, plain string, plain string, wound string, wound string, wound string. And this is where the common string gauges for electric guitar have come from. It would literally be like, a 9 set is actually an 11 set with the low E removed and with a 9 from a banjo string on. And similarly, a 10 set is actually a 12s set with, you guessed it, the low E thrown out and the 10 from a 10 gauge banjo string thrown on. And that's kind of where they came from. So that's why the naming difference is there, because we use these weird like hybrid gauges. These hybridized includes a high banjo string gauge for electric guitar. We don't really use them for acoustic guitar, so we use the old traditional naming conventions for that stuff. So that's kind of where that came from. A little bit of a history lesson. So it's all to do with weird practices in the past. This is also why a 9 gauge set of strings is completely unbalanced, and the B string is so loose and the G string is so tight. Less so for a 10 gauge string, very so for an 11 gauge set of strings, let me tell you. Anyway, but that's kind of where that came from. Very, very interesting. So we got some questions regarding confidence and regarding the kind of getting back to playing after an injury. So you guys who are familiar with our friend Timothy's story, we learned a bit about Timothy last week. A very, very inspirational story. Timothy has really been through the mill and is still playing and absolutely loving it and making gangbuster progress with his playing, and is looking to get playing back bands, and there's some talk about confidence and the need to be perfect and all that sort of stuff. I would encourage you to do away with the need for perfection in your playing. When you guys watch me play, I am deliberate about always leaving in mistakes that I make, right? Not as some kind of weird holier than thou thing, but because, not even because I like the way they sound, but because they happen, right? Mistakes happen. And I think it's important to represent guitar playing, even though I play at what I think is a fairly high level, tooting my own horn for a second here, which always feels a bit unnatural. I always cringe a little bit when I do that sort of thing, but even still, I make mistakes. Every guitar player I know makes mistakes. And this is not to glorify being sloppy, but mistakes do happen. And I think ironing out too many mistakes in your performances that you present to the world, if you have a position of influence, let's say for example you're a guitar player on Instagram with a large following, or a tutor or something like that, if you manicure your guitar playing too much for the sake of servicing your own ego and making yourself seem like some perfect specimen of guitar, it's harmful to the people that you're reaching with your guitar playing, because you're presenting an unattainable image of perfection, which is similar to the way that fitness models will present themselves in certainly in old men's health magazines, and all these adverts of, like, remember these adverts on the train with these crazy airbrushed bodies that are completely unattainable, or folks using whatever illegal methods to attain transformations for Hollywood movies, etc. I don't feel like it's unethical on that side of things. People are free to do whatever they want, right? But myself personally, I think it's important to acknowledge that people are doing this, and I don't think people are cheating for doing this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not pointing the finger and going, you're a bad person for doing this. I think we need to frame the way the guitar sounds from the perspective of, a lot of the guitar I see online has been manicured. Right, everything you see on these live streams is live because it's the live stream. Prove it to you. Here we go. It is what is it, 9 minutes past 9 on my phone as we go. 10 minutes past 9. You'll probably be going, wait a minute, you're in the future. How does that work? Well, it takes about 30 seconds to get to you, but even still, but you get the gist, right? So, point with this anyway is to recognize that a lot of guitar playing has been it's kind of been doctored, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to recognize that if your playing doesn't sound like that, it's not because you're bad, it's because you're not being doctored in real time. Also, let's not forget that many wonderful pieces of art have been made by guitar players that, we wouldn't consider to be the greatest guitar players in the world. In fact, almost every great band had a guitar player that we wouldn't consider the best guitar player in the world, and it didn't stop them making fantastic music. So the point with this, anyway, is do not, dear friends who's watching this, whoever you need to hear from this, do not let your lack of musical perfection or your lack of technical and theoretical perfection prevent you from making music today. Right, this is something that you can do. You do not need to be perfect to do this. You do not need anybody's permission to do this, and you do not need to care about the opinion of anybody who's going to tell you otherwise. You just need to go and do it. Right, that's it. Making music is for you, and don't let doctored videos or people with negative things to say about your stuff in the comments section. With some absolutely fantastic ones over at GI. I had a fabulous one recently that I'm going to tell about in a minute. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. Go play some music. Some more comments. Anyway, here we go. Some good stuff, I guess. Who knows? Anyway, wrestler Nick, you're talking about wrestlers. I wanted to be a pro wrestler so bad when I was a kid. I'm not tough enough for that lifestyle. Anyway, good words there, Nick. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I think it's important, And again, this is why I like to not doctor my stuff, even though it makes me look worse in comparison to folks who maybe are. That's my choice. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I feel like it's important to represent what guitar playing actually sounds like to people. And if I play stuff that's good, then I know it's because I actually played it. Anyway, so Nick, can you talk about overcoming stage fright? Yeah, I think a lot of what we just said there kind of maybe ties into it a little bit. A few other things. I would ask you when the last time was when you went to a gig and really wanted it to suck. And anytime, when was the last time you went to a gig and you saw a guitar player and you went, I can't wait to tear this guy's playing apart mentally. I can't wait to dissect everything. Nobody does that. And if you do, you people who do this are possibly deranged. Who knows? They need to reevaluate how they engage with fun, let's say. And those people, you're never going to change their opinions. But the majority of times when people go to see a show, they're on your side. They want to have a good time, right? They're going, I want to be entertained. If you go out with this in mind, with the idea that people are out there who they want to have a good time, I would say that's probably part of it, is going equipped with the knowledge that folks are on your team. They want to have a good time. They want you to do well. That's a big part of it. Also, another thing is acknowledging that perfection is not the end goal. Having a good time is the goal, I guess. Here's another one from my friend Craig, who is totally right. Don the ego jacket. And go out and kill it. For sure, there's a lot to be said for putting on the alter ego, as long as you remember to take it off when you come off the stage. We had one other really great question, and I can't find it. Oh, here's a good one, right? We have a few regular guys here. Maybe we should do another stream jam. I think we should. Maybe we should do that. Anyway, last comment from Timothy Appling. Thanks, man. I'm very happy with my progress, and now to the point that I enjoy playing again and will continue to play. That's all there is to it, man. If you're having fun, that is the reason why we study. And the reason why we progress on the guitar is so that we can have more fun. We can have more fun making music. If we did this to get rich, we're in the wrong business. But, unless you're very, very lucky. But the point with this is you do this because you love it. And getting better at it is only worthwhile if it helps you have more fun, which I think it does. So anyway, listen, this has turned into a big old loving. Haven't answered my this is getting a bit matey. But keys and transposition, yeah, I totally agree. You know what it is? We're going to have to address this another time, my man. We will get to that. So anyway, listen, haven't answered any questions about keys and transposition. You're right. Although I feel like we We got in quite deep in the lesson segment. Maybe we'll come back to this, who knows. We only have an hour and we've done an hour and 15. For the time being though, I gotta go. My name's Nick Jennison. There are more important fish to fry, right? It's more important to readdress the philosophical issues as to why we actually do this, I think. But hey, listen, I feel like there's some good stuff about keys and transposition in there too. Hopefully you guys had some fun. Hopefully you got some good stuff out of this. My name's Nick Jennison. I will see you guys next week. Electrics are back next week, so get your electric guitars out. We're going to be shredding. For the time being, I will see you guys later. I'm going to play out on the Fusion. If you want to join me, the chords are A minor, C minor, D minor, F minor in 4-bar loops. Let's do it. That's probably enough Fusion for now. My name's Nick Jennison. I am going to enjoy what is left of the daylight. I'll see you guys next week with the electric guitars. I won't tell you what it's about, but it's going to be good. See you later. This is what you get as part of your GI Plus membership. My name's Nick Jennison, and it's a pleasure to introduce to you GI Plus, the brand new lesson platform brought to you by Guitar Interactive. We've assembled a team of the best players and educators in the world to bring you exclusive lessons covering everything from metal to blues to fusion and everything in between. Want to level up your shred chops? Check out How to Play Fast by Andy James. Or how about sweep picking with Rick Graham? Or maybe country's more your bag? Well, how about a full-length exclusive country guitar course from Andy Wood? Interested in learning how to play over changes? Well, members get access to hours of exclusive lessons from Fusion Maestro Tom Quayle. Or maybe you want your playing to sound more soulful? Well, who better than Chris Buck to show you how it's done? Or perhaps you want to learn the secrets of the masters. Well, members get access to over 60 feature-length tech sessions where our tutors painstakingly decode the styles of players like David Gilmour, Eddie Van Halen, John Petrucci, Larry Carlton, Slash, Tosin Abasi, Paul Gilbert, and many more. You get all this along with exclusive live webinars, free backing tracks, competitions, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for GI Plus today.